The Cleveland Browns and training camp is right around the corner. A lot of people aren't talking about the number one obvious thing that's really going to determine who the starting quarterback will be for the Cleveland Browns. A lot of it is play on the field, but it's not all about talent. This is an underrated reason why the Cleveland Browns quarterback position battle might be done off the field rather than on the field, and the availability of the quarterback has a lot to do with it.
Everybody thinks this quarterback battle is going to be decided by one thing: the strongest arm, the biggest plays, the quarterback who looks the best throwing deep balls in practice. That's what fans see, and it's what dominates every debate online. But if you've been paying close attention to what Todd Monken has been saying over the last few months, a completely different story is starting to unfold. The Browns aren't just looking for talent anymore. They're trying to figure out which quarterback they can trust when the games actually matter.
I'm not trying to be, nothing's really changed. We're going to rotate those guys and play the best player. And we'll see.
Did you have to alter your practice regimen inside today?
No, not really. The only thing we had to change was when we went two-spot, full speed, we had to replace some of the shots. So we were jogging at the shorter routes. We just had to take some of that out, but everything was the same.
The biggest thing came when Monken explained how this competition would work. He made it clear that the quarterbacks wouldn't simply split reps down the middle until someone pulled ahead. Instead, the coaching staff plans to adjust those opportunities based on what they need to evaluate. Some days a quarterback may get more work with the starters. Other days they'll be put in completely different situations. That's important because it tells us the Browns aren't running a popularity contest. Every practice has a purpose, and every rep is another chance to answer a different question.
In this minicamp, the Browns able to run 7-on-7s and 11-on-11s.
Obviously, think highly of the guys we have. Love competing against them. A great defense, so ultimately that'll help us get better.
That's why reading too much into one practice can be misleading. One day, a quarterback might look outstanding with the first-team offense. The next day, he could be working with a different group of receivers or facing a completely different defensive look. From the outside, it feels inconsistent. Inside the building, that's exactly what the coaches want. They're creating different situations because real NFL games rarely go according to plan. They want to know who stays composed when things stop being comfortable, not who throws the nicest spiral in shorts. The more you think about it, the more the entire conversation changes. Talent was never going to separate these quarterbacks by a huge margin. If they couldn't make NFL throws, they wouldn't even be in this competition. The real difference comes after the ball is snapped. Can a quarterback recognize the blitz before it arrives? Can he change the protection? Can he get everyone lined up with 5 seconds left on the play clock? Those are the details fans rarely notice, but they're exactly what coaching staffs spend hours studying after every practice.
Well, first and foremost, I look at it's the totality of the whole practice. That's the first thing I do, is that you take everything into account, because in a practice, there's going to be times where the defense is set up to win, the offense is set up to win. There's different things that happen. There's context. Let's just say that. There's context that you need to understand that happen in every practice. Sometimes they might want to make it really hard on quarterbacks. Sometimes they want them to scramble. There's a bunch of things that goes on.
Think about the quarterbacks Monken has worked with throughout his career. Whether it was in college or the NFL, his offenses have always depended on quarterbacks making fast decisions. He wants the ball out on time. He wants the offense staying on schedule. He wants someone who knows when to take the easy completion instead of forcing a difficult throw. That's why one spectacular pass doesn't impress coaches nearly as much as 10 straight correct decisions. It isn't flashy, but it's how good offenses stay on the field and wear defenses down.
But what I'm looking for is, first of all, fundamentally, do they seem okay? The operation, getting in and out of the huddle. Do they have command of what they're trying to do? Do they have command of the motions, the movements, the total operation? Then I'm looking at footwork. Does the footwork match the throws? Does the footwork match what they're trying to do?
There's another reason this competition feels different from previous years. The Browns aren't acting like they're desperate to name a starter tomorrow. Everything we've heard from the organization suggests they're comfortable letting this play out through training camp, because they believe the most important evaluations haven't happened yet. Once the pads come on, the pass rush becomes real, and preseason games begin, that's when the pressure starts to look like actual NFL football. Until then, every quarterback is still building his case.
All of it is how they feel about Shedeur internally. I don't know how they feel, and I don't know if they do move on from Kevin and hire a new staff. Then it becomes, how does that staff feel about Shedeur? If they're at the top of the draft, though, and they love, I should say, Mendoza or more, you take them.
And maybe that's the biggest mistake everyone outside the building is making. Fans keep asking which quarterback has the most talent, while the Browns are asking a completely different question. Who gives this offense the best chance to function every single Sunday? Who can handle 3rd and long without panicking? Who responds the right way after throwing an interception? Who earns the trust of the coaches and the locker room over weeks of practice instead of one afternoon of highlights? Those answers won't come from one throw or one preseason drive. They'll come from everything in between. And that's exactly why this quarterback battle has changed. It isn't becoming a contest of talent anymore. It's becoming a contest of trust. And that could completely reshape who takes the first snap of the season. The deeper this competition goes, the clearer one thing becomes. The Browns aren't waiting for someone to wow them with a handful of highlight throws. They're waiting for someone to prove he can handle the moments that don't make the highlights. That's why every practice, every meeting, and every preseason snap carries so much weight. The coaches aren't looking for perfection. They're looking for the quarterback they can trust when the game speeds up. ESPN noted after off-season workouts that Todd Monken wanted to see his quarterbacks in more game-like situations before making any decision, reinforcing that the evaluation is about much more than raw ability. If you think about it, that approach makes perfect sense. Practice can tell a coach a lot, but it can't recreate what happens on a Sunday afternoon. It can't recreate a loud crowd on 3rd and 8. It can't recreate a defender coming free off the edge, or the pressure of leading a 2-minute drive with the game on the line. That's why training camp and preseason suddenly become the most important part of this battle. The Browns aren't just evaluating quarterbacks anymore. They're evaluating how each one reacts when everything around him starts to break down. That also explains why this competition feels so much more patient than people expected. Fans naturally want answers as quickly as possible, but the Browns don't gain anything by rushing the decision. If 2 quarterbacks are still proving they deserve the job, why force a conclusion before you've collected all the information? Recent reports continue to describe the starting job as one of the biggest unanswered questions heading into training camp, with the organization showing no urgency to rush the process. There's another side to this that doesn't get enough attention. Every quarterback in this room is feeling the pressure, but they're also learning something about the coaching staff. They know one great throw isn't going to win the job, just like one bad practice isn't going to lose it. What matters is stacking good decisions day after day. That's how trust is built inside an NFL building. It's not built with one spectacular moment. It's built by showing the coaches they can count on you over and over again, regardless of the situation. And that brings us to what could become the deciding factor. At some point, talent stops separating quarterbacks, because everyone on an NFL roster has talent. The difference comes from everything that happens before and after the snap. Who recognizes the coverage first? Who changes the protection? Who keeps the offense calm after a turnover? Those are the details that rarely make the evening highlights, but they often decide who walks onto the field for week 1. That's the part of quarterback play fans don't always see, yet it's often the part coaches value the most. So maybe the biggest story in Cleveland isn't that one quarterback suddenly became more talented than another. Maybe the real story is that the standard has changed. The Browns aren't searching for the quarterback with the biggest arm or the flashiest highlight reel. They're searching for the one who can command the offense, earn the locker room's confidence, and make the right decision when the margin for error is razor thin. That's a much harder competition to win, and it's why this battle feels completely different than it did just a few months ago. When the Browns finally announce their starter, a lot of people will probably point to preseason stats or a handful of impressive throws, but those numbers won't tell the whole story. The decision will have been made over weeks of meetings, practices, adjustments, and situational football that most fans never get to see. That's why this quarterback battle was never just about talent. It was about trust from the very beginning. And if Todd Monken sticks to the approach he's outlined, the quarterback who wins this job won't necessarily be the most gifted. He'll be the one the Browns believe gives them the best chance to win football games every single Sunday.